What is going on, everybody? It is your boy, your man's Toxic Camel, back at it with another video, and today we are doing yet another toxic tier list ranking. Ooh, yeah. And today, if you couldn't tell by all the characters right here, we are doing a tier list ranking of all the Walking Dead, the Telltale series characters, and ranking them on this tier list, of course. And for those who do not know, I've fully decided now that the Walking Dead, the Telltale series, is my favorite video game of all time. I love all 4 seasons with Clementine, yes, even A New Frontier. Even though it does have its fair share of issues, I must admit. And if you guys are wondering, like, where all the Walking Dead Michonne characters are, I haven't played that season yet, so I can't comment on the characters, but I will be doing a separate tier list ranking on its own when I finish that series, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on that. And also, this week, actually, I'm going to be doing 2 tier list videos. I'm going to be doing this one, and I'm going to be doing a tier list tomorrow of ranking all the Backlash matches. But before we get into actual beginning of the video, what's up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number 1, it's absolutely free, number 2, we're on the road to 700 subscribers, just 13 away now. Really help out your boy if you did subscribe, and also maybe help with the YouTube algorithm, recommend the video to more people, and maybe they could join the tops. But before we start ranking the characters, here are the tiers. So we got best of the best, which means they're like amazing. They're among, like, maybe my favorite video game of characters of all time, if not just one of the best Walking Dead, the Telltale series video game characters of all time. Great means they're still great, but there's a minor flaw holding them back from getting into best of the best. Toxic goodness means it was good. They were a good character, really good. Decent means they were decent, but they don't really, there were parts in it that they could have been a bigger part of, you know. Okay is like a mixed bag. Like, there are moments that you go like, yeah, he was pretty decent, but then there's moments where you go like, oh, you're just stupid. Meh means they were just there. Who are you means, who are you? I do not remember you. And toxic trash means dumpster fire. The worst Walking Dead, the Telltale series video game characters. And as well, I would just like to point out as well, I will be doing 2 other tier list videos with these characters. Well, not characters, but I will be doing a Walking Dead Telltale series episodes ranking with all the episodes, and that one might include the Michonne episodes, I don't know, when I finish that game, and also I'll be ranking all the seasons as a whole. Anyways, let's just get right into it, yeah, and let's start things off. So first off, we have Asim, and Asim, I don't know, he is a little bit weird because, yeah, I think he gets more time than Chef Omar in the final season. So I'll put him, I don't know. He's one of these 2. I can't say he's a good character. I'll probably put him in decent, because there is some moments in there. Like, I like the dynamic he has with Lily, where they're trying to choose what traps to use against the Raiders. I thought that was pretty interesting, and also it was pretty interesting with the whole entire diary situation and the whole entire joke situation where he has a crush on Ruby. That was pretty funny. So I think he's decent. I think he's decent enough. So he goes there as the first character. Next up, we have Abel. So Abel, of course, being one of the Raiders, and Lily's like one of her members. And I think he was, where do I put you? I'll put him in the, he's one of these 2. I'll put him in the good, because I have some villains that I would put above him a little bit more, but I think he's overall a pretty good character, very interesting, and you know nothing about him, and he has this very creepy atmosphere about him, and then there's that brutal scene later on where you can, like, torture him and stuff and try to find out where the raiders camp is and stuff, and then you have to decide to either mercy kill him or just basically let him turn, which most people mercy killed him, rightfully so. And yeah, he was a good villain, and also he brought a lot of tension with wait, hold on a second. I just realized something. Hold up. Wait, do they have them on here? Okay, they don't have them on here. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick transition to just Sammy real quick because I realized they didn't have some of these characters. So, transition to just that sorted. Now we move on to AJ, Alvin Jr. And AJ is the first in the best of the best category. Alone later on in season 4 when Clementine's about to die and he ends up chopping off her leg instead after she wants him to kill her. That moment itself puts him in best of the best. Also, he adds a really interesting relationship with Clementine. Him and her dynamic is amazing. Them two's dynamic and Lee's and Clementine's dynamic are tied for me. I think both are absolutely great. Also you can tell he basically is regretting his actions later on in season 4, and he's learning going throughout the game. And yeah, AJ, if they make a season with him in it, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind him having his own season. But I just want Clementine to be in it. I want Clementine at least to pop up like once or twice, you know? And don't kill her off, please. But AJ, that's the best character. I think AJ's great. Then we got his daddy. Well, actually, I don't know. Yeah, well, because that one's a little bit confusing. But anyways, Alvin, regular Alvin, from season 2. And Alvin was, I think Alvin was good. And I'm judging how my seasons went with these characters, by the way. How the story goes on with these characters when I was playing with them in my live streams and stuff. So Alvin was pretty good. When you have either two options when Clementine gets bit by Sam and then meets the new group, basically. You can either go ask for supplies and stuff from Sarah, or you can go talk to Alvin and ask for supplies for him. And if you go with Alvin, he gives you an additional like juice box to go with it, which is nice. And I think he's a good character. I wish he could have popped up a little bit more, but he was good. You had that moment near the end of his life where he ends up, after he gets beat senselessly by Carver, he ends up basically sacrificing himself so Clementine can help the others get out of here, basically. So, yeah, Alvin, probably out of the deaths that... by the way, I forgot to mention... there will be spoilers on here. I should probably put that at the beginning. But anyways, but out of the deaths that happen, he probably has the best death in season 2, because in season 2, man, oh man, there's a lot of stupid deaths, that I must admit. But anyways, good. He was a good character. Then we have, is this Andy St. John, right? Yeah, I think it is Andy St. John. I think out of all the Johns, all the St. Johns, Andy's definitely the most interesting, and that whole entire episode, by the way, where with the St. John family, that is probably my favorite episode in the whole entire Walking Dead Telltale series game. Spoilers for my future episodes ranking, but I think that episode's awesome. Starved for Help, they're very mysterious at the beginning, and they're intriguing, and you want to find out what's going on with them and their family. And once it's finally revealed that they're cannibals, your jaw drops on the floor. So yeah, they're messed up, but they were some good side villains, and it would be cool if they maybe like added them back later on with them popping up in a maybe separate a separate season with whoever, you know. So I think they're good. Next up we got hang on, I'm making an adjustment real quick. Okay, not that. No. Alright, okay, moving on. Yeah, Arvo sucks. I hate him so much, man. That stupid little limp he does with his, I don't know what you would call it, but that stupid little limp. And if you end up making if you play as Clementine, well, you do play as Clementine, and you end up saying, basically, oh, here's your medicine, and let him have his medicine, he still attacks you anyways, because Jane got mad at him, so, and he goes like, oh, Clementine, whatever he says. Anyways, and he gets Luke killed, which that was so stupid how he died, and I hate Arvo for that. Also, a little bit later, he gets mad at you for killing his sister, even though his sister was a zombie. And then also, when Mike, and Bonnie are leaving, he ends up basically, that when they're trying to basically calm down Clementine and try to make a deal with her, he ends up shooting her anyways. So that ends up happening, and that's utterly stupid. So, yeah, Arvo, you go down there, even below Toxic Trash. You're welcome. Then we got Ava. To be honest with you, Ava was very meh. Very meh. I can't really say much about her, really. She was just there. She was David's, like, number one. I don't know how to explain. She was David's number one guy, basically, even though she was a girl. And she doesn't really do anything. She's just there, in my personal opinion. But, she goes there. I'm probably going to put all the 400 Days characters there, by the way. And I don't even know what her name is. Next up, we have Ben. And Ben, I will put... I know this might cause some controversy, but I'm actually going to put Ben in okay. Because there's moments when, a little bit later on, where Kenny is still mad at him for basically the deal with the Raiders and the Raiders attacking the hotel or motel, I should say. And he basically tells Kenny enough and tells him, at least you got to mourn your family. I didn't get to mourn my family because I don't even know if they're alive. Those moments were quite compelling, and also that moment where Lee has a hold of Ben's arm, and Ben's basically saying, oh, let me go, and all that, because I'm just carrying you. Not carrying you. How do I say it? Basically, Ben's ready to give up because he knows he's a detriment to the group, if that makes sense. So, and you can either pick him up or just drop him. So, that was, I think, the best parts about Ben, but Ben is stupid. I do agree. But those moments are so strong for his character that I have to put him in the okay tier, because those were definitely the best parts of his character, even though he's really, really stupid. So he goes there. Oh, next up we have Bonnie. Okay, you go there with Arvo. Wow, I hate these two characters so much. She is the one of, if you're not able to convince all the other 400 Days characters to come with you into your community, she's the only one every single time that is guaranteed to come, because she's a big part of Season 2. And at first well, actually, I take that back. I was about to say, at first she's kind of a nice character. No. She ends up getting you caught, and Carver ends up getting you guys all caught, and I cannot speak. You get brought to Carver's community. So she basically baits you into it. Then after that, you see, oh, she's kind of nice, but still, that moment, ugh. Then when when Luke is about to die, basically, if you don't end up helping him, and she ends up having to help him instead, she gets so mad at you and basically says, oh, can't you just listen for once? So, and if you save Luke, or try to save Luke, she'll basically just she'll basically smoke a cigarette with you if you accept the cigarette, obviously. But yeah, and then also I mentioned before with Mike and Arvo, where she ends up turncoating and then they end up leaving and stuff. So yeah, toxic trash for her. Below toxic trash, actually. I think this is one of Vernon's cancer patient buddies. Who are you? Who are you? I have no clue who you are. The mom of the St. John's. I forgot what her name was. Bertha? No, not Bertha. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, I think she's decent. I think she's definitely the creepiest out of the three, if I do say so myself. But I think, spoilers for later in the video, but I think David and Andy St. John are a little bit more interesting characters than her. But she is definitely creepy, so I'll put her there. In the decent category, I'll probably put Sim right above her. Actually, no, I think she goes okay. She goes at the top of okay, because she doesn't stand out compared to the other two. Honestly, I never was a fan of her in the first place, so Bree, you go toxic trash. I don't like her at all, to be honest. I can't really explain it. She just gives off that vibe every single time. Brody from season 4. Brody goes into meh. She basically is just there. I mean, it's cool that she has a bird and all, but that's pretty much all she does, and she's just there to set up drama in this series with Marlon killing her and then eventually AJ killing Marlon, you know? So, meh. Next up, we got Carly. And Carly, I don't know. Where do I put you? Let me see here. Carly goes into good. If they would have kept her alive longer, maybe she would have gone into great, but Lily had to mess everything up and shoot her in the head. Also, same goes for Doug. But Doug, I feel like, is the weaker of the options. Anyways, but yeah, she's good. It's just, yeah, she doesn't get to survive long. And also, she has a really cute sort of relationship with Lee where they don't, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways. Next up, we got Carlos. Honestly, I thought Carlos was a really great character. I'm going to put him in the great tier. Carlos was really good. He's the medic of the group. Would I say medic? I don't know. He's the doctor of the group, basically, and he does everything. And you have a really good relationship with him after the first episode where he basically, well, in the first episode... No, in the second episode, he basically trusts you to take care of Sarah while him and the group are gone, and Carver ends up coming to the house. So, and once you do that, you have a really great relationship with him. It's just unfortunate how he dies. And the way he dies wasn't as bad as some other deaths in season 2, but it was still pretty, really? That's how we're killing him off? But, yeah, great character. Then we got Carver. Carver is definitely the best villain out of the Walking Dead, the Telltale series games. But I'm going to have to put him into great because you hate him. Yeah, that's the point. You're supposed to hate him, but best of the best I'm saving for characters that I love and adore, you know? And Carver, he's a jerk. And he's a great villain. He does great as what he's trying to do, make you hate him, but he can't go to best of the best because that's for characters I love and I think are flawless, but he's a bad guy, so... Next up, we got Krista. This is a tricky one for me. First season, even though she kind of acts kind of all the time like Bree did, she's good. She's good. At the start of season 2, the relationship with her and Clementine is quite good. So even though they get separated and stuff, and people want to spin off with Krista, I don't know how I'd feel about that, but yeah, she's a good character. Next up, we got Chuck. I almost forgot his name. Chuck is a good character. He basically sets the path for you to help Clementine survive throughout the apocalypse, or the zombie apocalypse, I should say. And he says basically get her hair trimmed and also get teach her how to shoot. So that definitely helps out with the story. And when Ben abandons Clementine in episode 4, I think, he ends up stepping in the way and protecting Clementine and making sure she escapes. Then he eventually gets brought to the sewer and eventually dies. So he was a vital character to help Clementine survive and teach Lee that she needs to learn how to survive. So she goes, not, is that a she, sir? Is that a she? No. He goes into the good tier. Next up, we got Clementine. Clementine, we all know where she's going. I mean, come on now. She is at the top of the best for me. She's not just my favorite character in this game, period. I think she might be my favorite video game character of all time. Just the journey she goes through with the relationship with Lee at the first season, then the second season, how she basically kind of is still a kid, but she's becoming more smart like an adult. The third season, you get a good backstory with her, but she doesn't pop up much in that season, which is one of my flaws with a New Frontier season. And then the fourth one is the best arc for her ever, because she basically steps in the footsteps of, does that make sense? I don't know. Basically is in Lee's footsteps and is being the guardian of AJ, and you see that relationship unfold, which is just a great relationship, like her and Lee's relationship was. And she has a lot of great character moments in each season, and yeah, she's the best for me. Next up, we got I think another cancer patient. Who are you? Conrad. Apparently, if you just go along with it and don't shoot him when he's trying to, when he's about to shoot Gabe, and if you let him stay alive and don't shoot him in the head, he actually stays alive till the very end, which is very surprising, which I did not know about. But I did shoot him, so I'll say he's decent, because him and I forgot what his wife's name was, but them two had a really good relationship, so decent. Next up, we got Danny St. John, and Danny St. John, I think, is the second most interesting St. John brother, right behind Andy. He that whole entire thing where they meet the woman in the woods, him and Lee, and he ends up shooting her when she's about to expose the secrets about, what they're eating and stuff. That was pretty interesting. So, yeah, a good character, I think. Good side villain. Next up, we got David. And David, I actually thought was pretty good. I'll put him in great. I really enjoyed his dynamic with Javi, and where he basically disappears, and then you eventually meet up with him again, and I think the second episode near the end. And them two, it's great to see them reunite, and then him reunite with Kate, even though Kate doesn't love him. And you have a bunch of interesting conversations with him throughout as well. And, yeah, great character. Next up, we have Doug. And Doug, I actually saved this time compared to Carly, because I played this a while back when I was, like, younger, and I saved Carly first. But this time I wanted to see how it was when you saved Doug. And Doug is decent. I don't think he's on the level of Carly. I think Carly was definitely the better decision to save. But he was pretty funny. I think he's voiced by, No, or am I thinking of... No, I'm thinking of someone else. I thought he was voiced by the same person that voices Reggie. I think that's what his name was from season 2. But he's a decent character. He's funny, and he gets the same Carly treatment. So, yeah. But I would definitely save Carly because you get that relationship with Lee. So, decent. Duck. He's okay. The only reason I put him in okay is because his funny investigation with Lee in the 3rd episode where they're trying to find out who broke the light and all that, and he's trying to be Robin and he wants Lee to be Batman. I thought that was pretty funny. But overall, he's mostly annoying during the whole entire time. And the death with him in episode 4 is definitely sad. So, well, actually, no. Or is it episode 3? No, it is episode 3. Yeah, it's episode 3. That was definitely sad moment. So, he goes into the okay. Next up, I forgot what homegirl's name was, but she decided to be a turncoat, so I'll put her in meh. And she didn't want to have a relationship with Trip, which sucked. Gabe. Well, Gabe. Another controversial character. I'll put Gabe in okay. Because the relationship I had with him in A New Frontier was actually pretty solid. The only incident that really was like, what are you doing? Was when he randomly just shouted out loud, oh, to Trip, oh, Javi shot Conrad. That's the only moment where I was like, yeah, you're kind of stupid for that. And he also, when he tries to jump the guy in the hallway, and he ends up getting Javi's arm cut in the process after Javi takes the guy out. Yeah, he's going to go right into okay. But I think overall I do like him better than Ben, I think. I like Ben and Gabe more than them two, I think. Glenn. Alright, so this one's going to be a little bit of a weird one too, because Glenn in the TV show I think is amazing. But in the game, he's just in one episode, so I'll put him in okay. There's that whole entire thing where you meet up with him and Carly comes with you, and there's the girl that he's trying to save, the damsel in distress, as Carly called her. And that whole entire thing where she wants the gun and they don't want to give it to her, that was pretty interesting. So, yeah, he goes into okay. He can't go above that. But Glenn from the TV show would go into, like, best of the best. Same sort of thing with all the other characters from the TV show that pop up in the video game. Herschel this time is actually a jerk in the in the video game. That whole entire, no matter what happens, you end up getting on his bad side. So, yeah, he's gonna go toxic trash. Sorry, Herschel, you're great in the TV show, but in the video game, nah, you're a jerk. James is stupid, but he's a decent character to. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna put him okay. I'll put him decent. He's a decent character to add a whatchamacallit. Not controversy. I don't know how to explain it. Add a big part to that story where he's a whisperer, but he doesn't kill people and stuff like the other group from the television series, and basically how he's trying to help you guide AJ to not kill anyone. So he goes into the decent. I think he was decent, even though he's stupid. Very stupid. Jane is similar to Ben and Gabe. A whole lot of people hate her. I think she's a good character. Even though, I must admit, if you pick to save her over Kenny, you're tripping in the second season. Even though she was a good character, and also if you save her to basically do it on replay, yeah, that's fine. To see what happens, but that whichever one you decide to save, and then if you decide to stay with them, they have terrible things that happen to them later on in the season, which Kenny's is more forgiving than Jane's, because Jane's, when you save her, and then a little bit later on, Jane basically kills herself because she finds out she's pregnant with Luke's baby, and that was just like, what? That's so stupid. And yeah, that whole entire incident brought her to good, not anywhere higher. If she wouldn't have done that, she would have probably been in the great tier, which I might be a hot take. Next up, we got Javi, and Javier. What was that? Excuse me. And also, do I still have... Okay, yes, okay. Okay, anyways. Javier... Wait, where did he go? Okay, no, he's not in that category. Javier goes into... Ooh, where do I put you, Javi? Do I put him in best of the best? Wait, no. I put her in the good. Yeah, I'll put him in the back of best of the best. Because, again, same thing I mentioned with David. You get that cool dynamic with him throughout the whole entire season. You get the relationship with all of his family really is really solid. And he's a fun enough player to play as, not being Clementine or Lee, and he was pretty solid. And yeah, I think he's a best of the best character, but probably low best of the best compared to all the other characters. All right, next up we got Paul/Jesus from the TV show coming into the game. And I think out of all the people from the TV show that popped up in the game, I think he's definitely the best. So I'll put him in decent. They do a lot with him, where Javi, Clementine, and Trip eventually stumble upon him and don't know whether to trust him or not. Then he eventually goes on your side, and yeah, he's a decent character. And also near the ending, he pops up a lot throughout the series, so he goes into the decent category for Paul/Jesus. Next up, we got Joan. And Joan, I'm tempted to say Arvo, Bonnie, and Joe. Yeah, I'm gonna do that, actually. Yeah, okay. Hold on a second. Arvo, Joanne, and Bonnie. There you go. And then I like Bonnie more than them two, but that doesn't mean I like her character. Yeah, she's trash. Yeah, I'm glad I shot her right in the eyeball. I'm pretty sure I shot her in the eyeball. I shot her in the head, so, after she killed Ava, so. Yeah, she deserved it, so, yeah. She's below toxic trash. Terrible. Terrible human being. Next up, we got another one of Vernon's cancer patients that lives with him. I don't know. Who are you again? Like, I think I remember her the most out of all the other ones except for Bree, so, yeah. Next up, we got Kate. Kate is complicated because I think she's an okay character, because it's just, I don't know, she was pushing way too hard to be with Javi, and I actually declined on their relationship, and I was loyal to my bro David, so I said, nah, David, your husband. So, yeah, and then she got all mad at me and stuff, and, but she has good moments. Her and Javi were like, when they were watching over Mariana and Gabe, they were nice, she was nice, and, yeah, the problem, and also what shocked me is apparently an outcome can happen where she dies, which I did not know about that for A New Frontier, and I found out in the game, I was like, wait, what? She's dead? I didn't know that. So, yeah. She goes into okay. She's okay. Yeah. Alright, next up we got the man, Kenny. And Kenny is my second favorite Walking Dead, the Telltale series character, right behind Clementine, and also right behind Clementine in one of my favorite video game characters of all time, and just, oh man, the journey he goes through at the start with his wife and son at the beginning of season 1, then throughout where he loses his family and is like ready to give up on life, but still cares about Lee and all Clementine and Ben all at the same time after that, and continues to live And then there's that moment in season 1 where you think he's dead after he kills Ben to make sure he doesn't have a painful death with the walkers. Then season 2 comes along and you find out he survived, and you have that amazing moment where you can decide to hug Kenny with Clementine, and that was a beautiful moment to see them two reunite. And then the whole entire arc Kenny goes through in season 2, where he's not the same Kenny, but he still cares about almost everyone. You have the option, as I mentioned before with Jane, you have the option to shoot Kenny or let Jane live, and of course I chose not to shoot Kenny because Kenny is one of the best characters in this game, right behind Clementine. In season 3 you get glimpses of him, but he dies in a stupid way that was not as stupid as Jane dying, but it was still stupid by having a car crash and not being able to move, and he sacrifices himself for Clementine and AJ. So, yeah, he's the best of the best character, no doubt about it. All right. Next up, we got his wife, Katja, ironically. And Katja, I will go the good tier. I think she was a good character. She was nice most of the time. She was the veterinarian of the group, so she was kind of like the medic of the group for a while, until like she dies, unfortunately. So yeah, she was a good character. She helps a lot throughout the game, and yeah, so she goes right into toxic goodness, even though why she doesn't go up there is because I found her, I mean, it made sense why she did it, but I found her offing herself kind of stupid, but it makes sense why she did it because she couldn't handle killing ducks. So yeah, she's a good character. I'll put Katja there. Next up, we got Larry. Oh, Larry. Toxic trash. He won't go in the Arvo, Joan, and Bonnie category because in the second episode, he has some funny aspects about him in that movie. In the second episode, in the first episode, he would easily go in the Arvo, Joan, and Bonnie, and Larry category. But in the second episode, he's a little bit more funnier. He has like a jerk charm about him, but yeah, and then he eventually dies in the second episode. So, but he still wasn't a good human being, so he still goes into toxic trash. Next up, we got Lee Everett, the GOAT, and he is my, I don't know. Him and AJ are tied for my third favorite character. I love them both equally. Great first character to play with in Walking Dead, the Telltale series. You have all these great relationships throughout his life with his character, where you have a great relationship with Clementine. Of course, that's number one. Amazing dynamic between those two. Really great relationship with Kenny as well. Also, Carly, even though, as I said before, Carly kind of dies a little bit later. Him and her have a really good relationship, and yeah, pretty much he has a good relationship with everyone except for really all that I can think of is probably Ben, but that's it. But he's still a great best of the best character. Next up, we got, speaking of Lily, well, speaking of Lily, that makes sense. Lily is a great villain. I was not expecting her to be brought back when I was watching all the other streamers, and YouTubers play Walking Dead Season 4. I was not expecting her to come back, and what do you know, she's back. And as the big villain for Walking Dead Season 4, and she has a lot of great moments throughout there as well. Season 1, I think she's more of a likable character than Season 4, because Season 4, she's a genuine villain. And in Season 1, she's not as big of a villain. She's more like a terrible human being with some nice aspects to her. But I will never forgive her for shooting Carly. That's the only flaw I have within her character. But she's a great character, though, no doubt. But I like all the other characters above her better. Next up, we got the doctor dude from New Frontier. He's meh. He's meh. He didn't really do much. You have the option for Clementine, like, to kill him, so basically he can give AJ's position away, but yeah, that doesn't really happen. So, meh. Lewis. One of Clementine's possible love interests besides Gabe, and season 4. And Lewis goes, ooh, this is tough. I'll put him, yeah, great. He is a great character. I think the reason why I put him in great is because his backstory, why it's revealed he went to that school in the first place, what happened with his parents where he tried to divorce them both. That was pretty dark and really gave an extra layer to his character. Also, yeah, of course, I mentioned you can have that relationship with Clementine, with that love interest relationship where it's kind of cute. And also he's funny and has a nice charm to him, even though the reason why he doesn't go in best of the best is because he kind of gets angry on you a little bit too hard and after killing Marlon. So yeah, he goes into great. So yeah. Next up we got Luke. And Luke, man, Luke. I'll put him in the great tier. But why I can't put him in best of the best is because the stupid way he dies with stupid Arvo, which, yeah, he's at the bottom of the barrel, buddy. Bottom. No, actually, I hate Joan more than Arvo, so he's not at the bottom of the barrel. But he's close. But that's why I can't put Luke in best of the best, because the stupid way he dies. And now, if you were to ask me if Jane swapped places with Luke and Jane died, and then Luke was fighting Kenny, that would have been more of a harder decision to choose, because I don't know, it's 50-50. Probably I would still have ended up going with Kenny, but that would have been a lot tougher if they went with Luke. So yeah, and there's a good relationship with Clementine where he doesn't trust her at first because he thinks she is bitten with Walker, and not by a dog. So, and then once she is telling the truth and we find out, oh, she's not bitten by a walker, he basically apologizes to her and you have a nice little relationship there. So yeah, he goes into great. Who's next? Okay, next up we have Mariana. This one's a tricky one too because she doesn't really live very long. Mariana, decent. I'll put her decent because you don't get to hang out with her much because she gets killed right in the first episode. But she was nice, you know. She was nice, but yeah. That's pretty much it. Then we got Mark. And Mark, while only being in one episode, I think was a big part of that episode. So Mark goes into toxic goodness. He was a nice guy, you know, and they shoot you right into the episode with him being a part of the group and you have no idea who this guy is, and you learn about him as you go on throughout the game. And then you hang out with Lee a bunch with Mark, and there's a lot of good moments there. So yeah, he goes into the toxic goodness tier because I think he was a good character. And by the way, is that really what Jane looks like in season 3 A New Frontier after you save her? Because that's pretty much downgrade in my opinion. Marlon, even though he's a coward, Marlon I'll put in the decent category because that was a good way to start off the season because the school wasn't as nice as it seemed, and then you were trying to find out what was going on, basically, and then you eventually found out, and then you're going like, oh, so that's what ended up happening, why this school is really messed up. So yeah, he's decent, and then you have the option to forgive him or just continue to beat him up or whatever, and then, well, no matter what, AJ ends up killing him. So yeah, he's a decent character, even though he's a coward. Matthew was a meh character because you only had 2 minutes with him, really. where we'll eventually talk about this person later, but he ends up, someone accidentally shoots him. Well, shoots him on purpose because he thought he was a threat, and he ends up falling off the bridge and causing a big hole in Kenny's groups at their, I don't know what you would call that, at the skiing lodge place. So, yeah, he goes into meh because you don't get to spend much time with him because he gets killed like 2 minutes in. Mike is not as bad as, like, Arvo and Bonnie over here. I think he's a solid character because at first, he's just, like, a dude that wants to be left alone. But then once the game goes through, out of Arvo and Bonnie is the only one that really cares about you when you get shot. And he's going like, oh my gosh, Clementine, are you okay? And he's trying to help her, but then Bonnie and Arvo go like, no, we have to go. We have to get out of here before Kenny ends up coming out. So, yeah, he's a good character out of the three. And, yeah, but these other two. Minerva, or Minnie, whatever term you prefer, and we'll talk about her brother later. And Minerva was also kind of like the St. John's, another really good side villain. I'll put her in the great tier because there's that epic moment in the final episode where she's singing the song that she used to sing to Tennessee to get their attention and try to get Tennessee back while she has a half-bitten face with the walker and then a bitten arm and stuff, and has a whole entire walker army behind her trying to get Tennessee to be with her. So that was pretty cool. Also, I really, even though they don't show it, but then when they talk about the backstory where her and Sophie went on a boat, tried to escape Lily's boat, and she ends up basically killing Sophie, that was a real big twist, and definitely added a little extra flavor to her character, if you will. And yeah, she's a great side villain, so she goes in the great tier. Next up, we got Molly, and Molly, I will put, and also I wouldn't mind a spinoff with Molly because I truly thought she was a great character. I wish we got more of her, but she was only in one episode. She's super cool. She's got a pickaxe and stuff, and then you have that whole entire Prescott, right? Is that what it's called, right? Yeah. Where she has that whole entire past with Prescott. So that was pretty interesting, and she has this charm about her, even though she can act kind of jerky sometimes, but that's a characteristic of her. So, yeah, she goes in great. I would probably put her above Luke. I really liked Molly as a character, so she goes there. Next up, we got, what's his name? Mitch. That's what his name is. Mitch at the start was, I'd probably put him in Toxic Trash. But he kind of has a charm for him once your relationship with him is kind of repaired with Clementine, he ends up basically forgiving you, and then when they're trying to make all the traps for the place when the raiders come, when he tried to kill Lily, that was pretty sad when he died, so but he loved bombs, man, so I'll put him in the decent category. Decent. Next up, we got, this is the dude I was talking about before. We got Nick, and Nick, I'm gonna, no, anyway. Okay, he's either meh or okay. Meh. I'll put him meh. Because I think he's worse than Ben and Gabe with his decisions that he makes throughout the game. I know he lost Pete and stuff, but he makes a lot of stupid decisions that I think are worse than Ben and Gabe's decisions, where he ends up shooting Matthew off the bridge and then causing a big old hole in that group with Kenny and Sarita and I think Walter. So yeah, there's that. Also, even though he was told not to go across the bridge and let Luke and Clementine go over, he didn't listen. Trying to think of any other things really. he's also just not really a big part of the game. And also he at first is going like, almost accidentally shoots Clementine at the beginning. So he goes into meh. He has a lot of moments that are like, what? Next up we got Chef Omar, and Chef Omar is meh, I think, because he's not really a big part of season 4 compared to all the other characters in it, so meh. Then we got Omid, and Omid is, let's keep on going, where do I put him? He's one of these two categories. I'll put him, I don't know. Yeah, I think I like him better than Lewis, so I'll put him great. Omid was a really funny character. He was probably the most comedic character out of all the comedic characters in Walking Dead, the Telltale series. He cracks a bunch of jokes too, when he gets introduced in season 1. Also, him and, what I forget her name, Krista, had a pretty good relationship, and when you find out about their backstory, it's pretty interesting. And also, you like their relationship with Clementine as well, and they end up going with you to try and find Clementine. So, yeah, they're good characters. So I'll put Omid in great, but I think that's good. That's good. Wait, where did Krista go? I just realized, where did Krista go? Oh, she's in goodness. Okay, I keep on looking for the other model of her, what she looked like in season 1. Anyways, we got Pete, and Pete was also a good character. He kind of did the same thing Chuck did with Clementine, but gave a little bit. Well, no, actually, no. I take that back. He makes you. He is the first person to believe you that you didn't get bit by a walker, and also he definitely wants you to survive, and he asks for you to look after Nick, even though Nick doesn't really appreciate Pete much. So, yeah, good character, I think, even though Pete died. Rebecca. If you asked me the first episode, she would have gone in toxic trash, but I was surprised. They redeemed her character a lot. I thought she was a good character, really good. The mom of AJ, and she has a lot of cute moments with Clementine when she eventually accepts her into the group. She lets her feel her belly with AJ in it, and also lets Clementine hold AJ as well. And yeah, she's a good character, even though she has a stupid death. Again, season 2 has the stupidest deaths. I know people usually go for a New Frontier for the stupidest deaths, but I think season 2 has the stupidest deaths. Anyways, well, actually, them two might be neck and neck. Anyways, but she was a good character. Next up, we got Reggie. Reggie was just there. He was okay. He was just there. Ruby. Ruby was a good character. At first, she was kind of annoying, but she became a good character once you go back to the school to help them rebel against against the big alliance with Abel and Lily. You can help her bury the one teacher and help her there. Also, she wants you to help make the party too, and she does whatever you want. So yeah, she's good. She's a good character. Then we got. Honestly, I'm gonna should I just start putting all the 400 Days people in here? Okay, 1. Let me see. 2. 400. Where are all the other 400 Days characters? I'm trying to see because I can. Okay, I will give the exception to 2. Well, actually, no. Okay. I'll just start ranking them. Okay, Wyatt from 400 Days. Meh. The only 400 Days character I really liked was Vincent. That was it. So Vincent goes into decent. He was the only 400 Days character I was going, he's alright. So, but he's still not an amazing character by any means. So, yeah, just wanted to get those people out of the way. Next up we got Sarah. I actually left her behind when you had the option to either leave her behind or slap her and convince her to come with you. I think she's decent. Both ways she dies are kind of stupid. Well, the first way I feel like is less stupid than the second way she dies, because the floor of I forgot what was the floor of that one building that Rebecca gives birth to AJ ends up basically falling on top of Sarah. Sarah can't move, and then she eventually gets ate by zombies. So the second way, I think, is way more stupid a way to go. But there's aspects about her that she was kind of nice. You have that cute little friendship with Clementine, where Clementine has to look after her, basically, and, yeah, there's that. Also, you're pretty much the only one that can convince her to move forward from getting off that RV thing with Luke. So yeah, yeah, she's decent. She's a decent character. Sarita, to be honest, I was never a fan of Sarita. I thought she was just very meh. She was just another love interest for Kenny to basically go crazy again once they died, so. Sean Green, Herschel's son. Sean was decent. You didn't get to hang out with him much because he was, like, one of the very first people to go, so he goes decent. Next up we got this guy doesn't even really have a name, does he? Well, we don't know his name, but the stranger. The stranger, ooh, I think is a good villain. I think he's a good first big baddie of the Walking Dead, the Telltale series villains. He was a good way to go with, and once you find out who he eventually is, I thought that was pretty cool and interesting, where he was the car that Kenny and everyone else raided and stole the food from. That was pretty cool. Also, you get this one I found out the other day, where in a short, was it a short or a video? I don't know where, but I saw a comment on a video where the stranger was actually at the beginning of the game when Lee is driving in the back of the police car. You see his truck driving across. Well, driving, yeah. You see it through the window anyways, and that was pretty cool. I didn't catch that, so I'm glad I read that comment, so I know that now. He has this very creepy aesthetic to him when you're talking to him face-to-face in the final episode of Season 1. And, yeah, I think he's a good villain. Really solid villain. This girl, I don't know. Meh. She's from Season 1. She's from I cannot speak. She's from 400 Days, and she crosses over into Season 2. She's trying to convince all the 400 Days characters to be a part of Season 2, but only is able to get Bonnie most of the time, so, man. Tennessee was nice, even though he did stupid stuff where, like, he basically got Mitch killed, but I think he's a good, he's a good character, because him and AJ's relationship as friends is pretty funny, pretty cute with them two together, and also that where he draws you and has this whole entire infatuation with you and AJ, so that was pretty cool. So yeah. He's good, and he's one of the very few people that actually want you to stay in the group after you kill Marlon. So, then we also got Trip. Trip, I actually am a little bit more positive on than other people, I think. But Trip was a good character. You know, even though you had that moment where he got mad at you for killing Conrad, it's just he was a nice guy, you know. he was basically the big guy of the group that eventually had to die. When he died, he said to everyone, y'all don't want to see this, so before he died, so that was pretty sad. And yeah, I think he's good character for Trip. This guy punched Clementine, so immediately toxic trash. Not as bad as Arvo, Bonnie, or Joan, especially not Joan. Vernon, toxic trash as well. Tried to take Clementine away from us, and definitely changed my opinion on his character. And yeah, he's toxic trash. Next up, we got Violet, and Violet goes. This is also the other relationship option you can have in the Walking Dead: The Telltale series Season 4 game. Either her or Lewis, or neither. And she's a good character. I chose for Clementine to be with Lewis, but she was good, but she gets mad at you for not saving her, and gets mad at you on the boat and tries to stop you from escaping, basically, which I thought was kind of stupid. So, but I would rather her be mad at me than have Lewis have his tongue cut out, but still be happy with me, you know? So, yeah, I'd rather have that happen. But she was good. Then we got Walter, and Walter was also another good character, where he, no matter with what option you go with, where you tell him honestly that Nick killed Matthew, or if he didn't, he ends up sparing Nick no matter what. So, and that proves how good of a human being he is. He's only in one episode, but he was good for what he was in. Willie was okay. I mean, that whole entire relationship with him and Asim was cool, but no, he was just mostly weird the whole entire time, and he had that one out of pocket line in episode 4, I think, episode 3 or 4. He had that one out of pocket line, and for those who know, no. Then we have the two characters that I added to the filter because I realized, oh, there's no pets on here. So we have Sam and we have Rosie. So Sam, the first dog you meet in season 2, I think he's a good character, but I wish he would have been a long-time dog with you in season 2, but that ended up happening because he wanted food, basically, because he was starving at any cost. So you end up having to basically kick him off into I don't know, he gets basically kicked off into some spikes and gets spiked and gets stuck there, basically. So you have the option to mercy kill it or leave it, so you have to mercy kill it, really. So yeah, Sam, you were a good character when you were a good pet with Clementine, but you had to freaking bite her and be greedy, but, you know, whatever. Good character. And then we have Rosie, and Rosie added a further layer to Clementine's character in the season 4, because they tried to basically because Clementine was scared of her at first because, you know, she had a bad experience with a dog once. So that was pretty interesting that they added that little detail in the game, and yeah, you have a good relationship with her. But oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. That is the toxic tier list ranking of all the Walking Dead: The Telltale series video game characters, ranked from worst to best on tier list for tier list fashion. Do feel free to comment your guys's list down below. But with that being said, guys, I'll see y'all next time, everybody. Peace.